The stars flickered in the endless dark, and the Archivist, a quiet man who spent most of his life reading old records, noticed something strange the moment his small ship drifted into the silent region of space, where no beacon shone and no voices traveled through the warp. He felt a gentle pull, like the universe was trying to whisper a secret it had hidden for thousands of years, and although he did not understand the meaning of this feeling, he knew it was important enough to stop his journey and study it carefully, because every instinct inside him warned that this was not an ordinary disturbance but something far older than the Imperium itself, something that reached into every recorded age and touched every forgotten corner of time. As he floated there near the observation window, he saw stars blink in and out like tired lanterns, and for a moment he wondered if the void was playing tricks on his eyes, but then his ship's instruments confirmed that entire star signatures were fading from the data logs, one after another, slowly at first, and then faster, almost like a quiet pattern was forming, and he felt a chill run through him, even though the cabin temperature was perfectly steady. He opened the ancient data scrolls. He always carried records from the earliest days of humanity, documents so old that half the experts in the Imperium believed they were myths written by dreamers rather than historians, but he trusted them more than modern archives because they held secrets that newer reports often ignored. And when he checked the star charts inside those scrolls, his breath caught as he realized the missing stars matched the ones described as foundational markers, celestial points believed to be important for charting the movement of psychic waves. This was no coincidence, he thought, and as he leaned closer to the glowing console, he wondered if someone or something was erasing history by removing the stars tied to old stories, almost as if reality itself was being rewritten piece by piece. The Archivist knew this idea sounded impossible, even foolish, but the data did not lie, and the more he examined it, the more he saw small gaps forming in the timeline. Records stored on his ship, names of planets he had studied since childhood were suddenly gone, dates he used to memorize were now blank, and entire paragraphs of historic events appeared blurred or incomplete, as though they had been written in sand and a silent breeze had started to wipe them away. He checked again, hoping it was an error caused by damaged storage crystals, but every backup told the same story. History was changing, and only he seemed aware of it. He felt alone, not in a fearful way, but in a heavy, thoughtful way, as if he had stepped into a large, empty library where all the books were losing their pages at the same time, and he was the only one left to watch it happen. He wondered if this had something to do with the strange dream he had the night before. A dream in which he floated through a corridor of soft white light and heard a voice say, "Follow the missing pieces." A dream so gentle yet so clear that it stayed in his mind even after waking, and now with everything happening around him, the dream felt less like a random picture of sleep and more like a quiet message sent to guide him. Deciding he needed answers, he activated the long-range sensor arrays of his ship, searching for unusual energy signals, old warp echoes, or anything that might explain the fading of stars, and after a few minutes a faint pulse appeared on his screen, a soft rhythmic beat that came from the outer edge of the region known as the Silent Drift, a place where very few ships traveled because the warp behaved strangely there, but to the Archivist, the signal felt like a trail of breadcrumbs leading toward the truth he needed. Without hesitation, he set his ship toward the signal and allowed autopilot to navigate the quiet path through the drifting dust clouds, all while his mind raced with questions. Was something feeding on forgotten history? Was a hidden presence collecting memories of the galaxy and pulling them out like threads from a grand tapestry? And if so, why was he the only one noticing the unraveling pattern? As he pondered these questions, he felt again the same gentle pull he sensed earlier, almost like an invisible hand guiding him, not in a threatening way but in a calm, steady manner, and although he normally trusted logic and evidence more than instinct, he let the feeling guide him because sometimes instinct understood things the mind could not yet explain. After several hours of travel, the signal grew stronger, almost warm, and when he entered a thin veil of silver mist that circled the Silent Drift, his ship lights dimmed slightly, not from power failure but from the strange energy inside the mist, an energy that seemed peaceful yet ancient, like old memories drifting in the air. He stepped closer to the window and saw something unusual, tiny glowing particles floating around the ship, each one carrying a faint shimmer, like small fragments of forgotten stories, searching for a place to rest. And the Archivist felt an unexpected sadness because he sensed these fragments were pieces of events that once existed but were no longer remembered by anyone. His heart grew heavy as he realized he was witnessing history dissolving into dust. And he wondered how many stories had already vanished before anyone could save them. As he moved away from the window and checked his instruments again, the signal sharpened suddenly, revealing a single point deep inside the mist, a place where the energy waves bent inward as if folding around an unseen object. And the Archivist realized with a quiet shock that this was not a natural phenomenon but something designed, something placed here long before his time, perhaps long before even the Imperium. Curious and cautious, he pressed forward, letting the ship glide through the soft light until he reached the center, and there, surrounded by swirling mist, he saw a faint figure, or perhaps a shape, or perhaps only a shadow standing still in the drifting glow, its outline difficult to define, but its presence unmistakable. It did not move or speak, but he felt its awareness, a calm and patient awareness, like it had been waiting for someone to arrive for many centuries. The Archivist stood frozen, unsure whether to approach or remain still, and for a long moment the silence wrapped around him like a soft blanket, almost comforting, almost familiar, and he wondered if this mysterious figure was connected to the fading stars, the missing records, the erased timelines, and the gentle voice from his dream telling him to follow the missing pieces. As he stared, the figure slowly lifted what appeared to be its hand, not in warning but in invitation, and a soft ripple passed through the mist, carrying with it a warm, gentle hum, like a memory returning after being forgotten for too long. His mind filled with questions. Who is this? Why was it waiting for him? What does it want him to see? But before he could speak, the hum grew clearer, forming a faint echo that wrapped around his thoughts and whispered a single phrase that sent a deep shiver through his calm soul. You are closer than you think. And in that moment, the Archivist understood only one thing: whatever was happening to the galaxy was far bigger than missing stars and fading records, and the truth waiting ahead was something that could change the entire timeline, perhaps even the future itself.